Good morning, everyone. Today, I will share with you our story why we decided to transform our business model from Odoo Community to our Odoo Enterprise. Um, Let me introduce myself a bit. I'm Andrew. I'm coming from Odoo Consulting Vietnam. We are part of Odoo Consulting Group. Odoo Consulting Group established in 1998 in Malaysia. We started as a hosting company, and we changed ourselves into business and food ERP implementation company since 2014. We're happy that Odoo partner since then. Since then, we have been actively developing Odoo market for small and medium enterprise in Malaysia and then in Vietnam. So today I will share with you, our journey, what we have tried in Odoo Community, and why we decided to change our business models to base fully 100% on Odoo Enterprise, and what we have done to what we are doing now to strengthen our business model. We just want to share our story, and we do not want to, give any preference over Odoo Community or Odoo Enterprise. Each they have their own strength, and partner are based on these two to develop our business. So it's just a sharing. So firstly, I want to share that we have been trying many different business models based on Odoo since I can say 2012, and due to a certain limitation of our resource, we find that certain business model does not fit us so well at a certain point of time. So we keep changing until recently, I can say we find a certain business model that fits us best. We're starting by consulting and implement business applications since 2012, mainly with open source stack like Magento, Rupo. We build custom business applications. Then we come across, we start as a software company. We come across Open ERP, who fit a lot of our customer requirements like part of sales, inventory, accounting. So we started to take on a few outsourcing projects from Singapore since then in Open ERP to familiarize ourselves with technology. And then throughout a few years, we become Odoo partner, and we decided to invest to develop our own Odoo version, because we find that the requirement in our local market is a bit different with Odoo base. So we decided to develop our own Odoo version based on Odoo 9. We even do our own design to make it look like our own product. Of course, we based on Odoo Community, and to mainly serve our Malaysian customer in 2014-15, there's a huge requirement to have the GXC ERP supported ERP system. So it's a huge demand. So we started with this. We call it zero big product size models based on general requirements. It's not fit for, and it's not designed to fit on any segmentation. After a while, we find that the general product does not meet all the customer requirements, because different customer will have different needs, and they tend to ask for a lot of different things that we don't have. So we thinking maybe we should focus mainly on certain segmentations like retail customer. So we develop a cloud-based type of solution similar to Shopify. Of course, we more or less like look up what Shopify offering, and we try to build that the same thing in Odoo. We call it Easy Sales. Of course, it's also based on Odoo 9 community version. The concept of like serving many places but managing one place. So it's quite a attractive idea in the start, and then we managed to get a few customers. But after a while, we find ourselves in different paths. We find that the productization approach does not work so well. We're having a huge development team, and in order to sustain, we need to take on a lot of more customization projects. We cannot say no to the customer. Basically, when they ask for a certain needs, we tend to say yes because we want a project. So it's, at a certain point, we find it impossible to challenge back the customer requirement, because it seems that the main reason why a customer come to us is not because of the product is good features, but because they believe that, they choose it over other solutions because they believe that we can develop a customized solution based on their needs, and not because other solution is not good compared to Odoo. So that's why it comes to us, and that's why we seem to adapt ourselves, and we call it a new business model that called fixed scope customized models. So we tend to negotiate on the certain scope with the customers, and we quote them based on the scope. Of course, it needs to be a sizable scope that we can plan for certain, like 6 months, 1 year kind of projects. And this business model initially seemed to fit us quite well because it immediately solved our cash flow problem after we invest in a lot of prototype models. And it brings us projects, a lot of certain good name customers like Baskin Robbins and other customers in Malaysia. And we're quite happy because we're starting to generate cash, and our business, our team is growing because of projects. We have more projects. It means we need more people, so we grow our teams. So initially we find quite happy, but after 3 years, 4 years, looking back, we find this business model is not a profitable model, and here's why. Firstly, is a huge customization project usually requires a long sales cycle, meaning that you need to invest a lot in pre-sales and and time to negotiate, to discuss, to do POC with a lot of customers. So out of like 3, 4, 5 pre-sales, we only can win one, and we invest a lot upfront. So that's the first problem. And during economic crisis, like now, it's impossible. I can say it's harder and harder to close a sizable deals during this period. So this is now a problem. So another problem is we find that customization project is really hard to go live. Customer always assume that certain function should be there in Odoo. So they assume that in their mind, and it's impossible to write the whole spec down to say which function is in scope and which function is not in scope. So end up, a lot of argument happen during the project, during go live, during UAT. End up, we tend to do much more than original planning scope work. In certain work, the customer agree to pay more, a certain they don't agree. So that's why we find it's not profitable at all. And because we tend to customize more and more, so meaning the cost of code maintenance is much more higher in the long run. So after go live, we tend to spend a lot of effort to fix bugs. We cannot say, this bug is we're not able to fix unless you pay us. We have to say so in our business environment. And even after warranty up, the customer tend to pay a huge maintenance effort for us. So in their mind, it's not they tend to pay more and more. So the customer also don't happy. We also don't make a profit. So end up, we find that there's something wrong with this business model. So that's why in last year we say, why don't we try on enterprise. We have few enterprise customers, but it's not a main, strategy. So last year we decide, why don't we totally pivoting our business model and change it to based on Odoo Enterprise, because this slide from Odoo Enterprise, let's see whether it's true. And we find a few interesting points. First, that we didn't know before. Firstly, the customer tends to invest less in Odoo Enterprise compared to Odoo Community. So that is the first surprising thing that we realized, meaning that we always think that Odoo Community is free, cheap, but the total cost of ownership from the customer point of view from Odoo Enterprise is much more lower than Odoo Community. Of course, we don't compare apple to apple here. It's different needs. So the main reason that, like I said, the main reason why the customer comes to us with Odoo Community is because they want to customize. They have the budget. They're willing to spend more for customize. And the customer who come to us with enterprise, they expect the customer to be expanded, so they don't have a lot of budget. So it's a two different customer segmentation and two different angles to look into that. So we are not trying to compare apples. It's not an apple to apple comparison, but like I say, with a lower project values mean lower expectation from customer. They are more willing to accept Odoo as it is, rather than they imagine in their mind some perfect pictures or some some software that they try to customize. So it's a totally different expectation. So I can say when we deal with the customer with Odoo Enterprise, it's much more easier for us to deal with them because they have so much more lower expectations. So they expect, okay, Odoo as it is. So if they don't have, for the first time in our career, we can confidently tell the customer that this concept is not available in Odoo. Sorry, we can help you to find a workaround solution. So we can convince them that they should not be 100% of their business Odoo, and rather just a certain percent of that, and the rest, please operate like normal. So that is a good thing that we find out. And there's a certain success project that we have for certain customers. So for this case, it is a distribution company, and we are closed in 1 month and we go live in 1 month. So it is very fast sales cycle and very fast project delivery. Of course, the project value is much more smaller, but we find we can easily mobilize our resource, and we can easily optimize resource rather than take a certain resource for the long project for a long time and don't know when that's going to pay for that. So that is a good thing, and I can say it's a very good business model during this economic crisis. Second, manufacturing case study. So for the first time in our career, we are able to go live the project within just a short time for the manufacturing case, which usually is very complicated, but we can close the project within 1 month again, and we go live in 2 months, and the whole exercise is doing remotely. We don't even need to meet the customers. Our delivery team is in Vietnam and the customer is in Malaysia, so it's impossible to meet them because we're not able to fly over to Malaysia. So we can go live the project. That is the most amazing thing that I find out after we adopt Odoo Enterprise models. And other case study, this case even go live 1 week. Of course, the scope that the customer requires is smaller than more like marketing automation, CRM, email marketing, websites, but it's so that this works So that's why we want to share with you about this. And initially, we find that this business model is not very strong, and that's why we don't adopt that in early days. Of course, I can say, Odoo 9 compared to Odoo 13 is the gap is much more huge. So in Odoo 9, it's impossible to ask us to sell Odoo Enterprise. It's a lot of things it doesn't have. It's not there. But another main reason because the business model is not strong. Because of the fact that our business stream is lesser compared to community model, because the project size is smaller and we only do a service implementation. So we're not doing a lot of like customization development. We can do, but we don't do. But and of course, like I said, we started as a software company. So in order to do this enterprise model, we need to reposition ourselves as a consulting firm. So I can say it's a huge change to our company organization structure and strategy. And another important point that we ask ourselves a lot of time. So the barrier now is much more lower. Meaning any company with a less experience in software development, and they have a little bit of ERP and basic digitalization background, they can immediately become our competitors. So that is something that we need to prepare ourselves if we want to enter this kind of market. And the only strength that we have throughout many years doing Odoo is that we can know exactly what should and what should not do when implement Odoo. And of course, that's exactly what the customer paying for us, but it's not enough. So what we're doing, we need to build a stronger sales and marketing. And of course, that's what Odoo needs us. They don't want to invest in a lot of sales marketing everywhere in the world. So we need to invest in that. So we need to focus on sales marketing. So we need to build, to do a lot of activity. I'll share you later. And second thing is we need to build more local partnerships. That's where Odoo haven't started to do yet. So so we focus on sales marketing by, instead of waiting for Odoo to organize events, we take more initiative to organize our own events and invite Odoo and invite other partners. So in our market, people perceive Odoo as a free and open source software. So we need to change this kind of perception because we need to position Odoo as enterprise software. It's Odoo Enterprise anyway. So Odoo, IBM, this kind of core event that we need to continuously, really educate the market. And of course, we need to build more and more content like user guide, business tips, case study in our localization. That's where Odoo haven't started to yet. So that's why we invest ourselves in that. And of course, we build local partnerships like, we have our local fulfillment partners to help the customer to do that fulfillment. And we integrate with the system. So we have our e-invoicing, in Vietnam we have e-invoicing. So we need to have invoicing partners to allow the customer to generate their own invoice in both systems. And we have our infrastructure partners. So we need to provide all-in-one solution to the customer rather than just Odoo implementation package. And AI partners, IoT partners that fit the local domain. So that's what we are doing. But we try, when we do this kind of marketing and local partnership, of course, it's standard a business model, but that's something that Odoo need to think on behalf of us, like how to protect our interests if we do this kind of activities. So that's something that I really need to do to have a plan, for those partners that do a lot of sales marketing. So how to protect our interests. So that's a question I want to throw back to Odoo. And lastly, this is last slide. So what we are planning to do next. So of course we focus on number 1, number 2, like what I say now. The number 3, we need to focus on our human resource. We need to build a better, much better personal consultants, much better, coaching to help people on business digitalization and to build extra service compared to just original implementation service. That's why I say we need to re-pivoting our business model from software development house to consulting company, and that is a big challenge. So we need to change that to adapt to the business model. And of course, we still maintain our technical capability by leverage on in-app purchase concept in Odoo to build more apps and products to diversify our, I can say, our business revenue stream. So that's what we are planning to do, and that's what we are doing. And that again is just for sharing. I hope that this sharing is benefit to certain of other Odoo partner out there that having some same concern with us. And thank you for your time.
Perfect. Hey, my name is Johannes. I'm going to be a host for this talk. I'm joined by Andrew that just gave a very interesting talk about migration from community to enterprise. Right now we're going to go through the chat to answer the questions that you might have. As always, I encourage you to ask as many questions as possible that we can answer directly here in the Q&A session. Okay? So. Welcome, Andrew. Would you care to introduce yourself quickly to the audience?
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope you have a good time with Odoo Experience. A lot of new features, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I love most about Odoo 40 is the website. It's not very hard to use. It's a lot of new features inside. And I'm excited to apply to my own website.
It was completely rebuilt. I think we all saw the keynote. Clearly, the emphasis is on the website builder for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So right now, we're still waiting on some of the responses in the chat. So I will just start with a general question that I think is interesting to anyone that is following the talk. And that is really just, could you elaborate a bit more on the challenges you face while doing the move from community to enterprise?
Like I say, we start our business model as a software development company.
Yeah.
So that's why we choose community to, at the core of the product, that we go around ask customer, what else you need, so we can customize.
Yeah.
So that is the initial business model, and it works in early days because Odoo is not 100% completed as a whole business suite like now.
Exactly.
But when we face a lot of challenge on the way, like in my talk, but when we decide to move on with enterprise due to a few reasons I read out previously, we find that most of the resource that we have internally is not fit for the new business model.
Okay.
So we need to do a lot of re-education, retraining. Like for example, like your business, Odoo functional consultant previously. Your functional consultant is usually they will ask the customer a question like, what do you need? What's your requirement? So
exactly.
they write down in the slide.
Yeah.
And they try to develop that. So they work a lot with customer, but they work more with the developers. But in the new business model, like the enterprise model, they are not only work with the developer. Usually they don't work a lot with developer nowadays. So they work more with the customer side. They will ask the customer, what kind of challenge you're facing while you implement Odoo, and how we can work around. Yeah. So they give more advice. So the normal talk is like, we suggest you, we advise you. It's not like what's the requirement. So it's a lot of different mindset of human resource that we need to train, and we need to re-educating our staff, and even we need to recruit more new people to join our company. So that is one of the main challenges that we are facing. Yeah.
And definitely a very delicate challenge. Coming from a software development background, now going more to the consultancy aspect, it's very exciting but also frightening. I can imagine that.
Yeah, it's exciting for myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a question from Robert in the chat. He's asking, how did your pricing approach change between the time of community and now with enterprise strategy?
Yeah, it's a great question, I can say. Our pricing model is totally different. Previously, we go by fixed scope model. It's like after we write our spec, so we give the customer give you a spec. So what you give back the customer is the estimation and the cost, and usually it's a fixed contract.
Yeah.
And the contract will divide into like different payment terms, depend on delivery. But then, if the customer raise a new spec, so usually they will ask us, we ask them, we record, but usually it's very hard. They will say, why don't you tell us in early days, That's our scope. But in our new business model, we don't go by scope anymore. We go by, I can say it's a little bit time and material kind of thing. So we charge them like per hour, like we have the package of 100 hours, 200 hours. So we try to cut down the scope into smaller pieces, and we give them a delivery based on the smaller scope that we have.
Yeah.
So it's like a agile model. I think it's advisable by Odoo, and I totally agree with that. And of course, we need to give them a total estimation on the total cost that they can have, but it's not the final quote. It's like, every time, we charge them per hour.
Andrew,
so it's changed from fixed scope model to time material model.
Unfortunately, the time was cut short. Thank you very much for your time. Please share your contact details here in the chat so that people can directly reach out to you. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a pleasant evening in Hanoi.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.